Okay, we can have a look at this core set of questions. So for the core unit, you get an item. See the text here. You get a 5 marker, 1A 5 marker, and a B marker, B question, which is a 15 marker. So for the core unit, the 5 marker, you get 10 minutes to answer it. So get 10 minutes to answer the 5 marker, and you get 18 minutes to answer the 15 marker. You should go back to front, do the 15 marker first, and then do the 5. So you've got the item. Similar thing with methods. You get the item and you pull it apart. So religion is a secondary socialization. So what I'm going to note there is it's from 5 until we die. And it is the second stage of learning. Second stage of learning from 5 till we die. And some of the agents of secondary socialization, education, peers, media, religion, workplace. Religious ceremonies influence identity. So identity is your sense of self that develops. You've got personal and social. So I'm just seeing the item and I'm pulling out anything from it. And can unite a society by socializing people. Oops. So socializing people is when you teach them or they learn the kind of norms and values. Socializing is really the process of getting them to learn. Oh, yep, there is shared norms and values of that society. A religious leader can act as a role model. Okay. So a role model is a person whose behavior can be imitated or copied, and give guidance about the type of behavior that is acceptable or unacceptable. So if the behavior is acceptable or unacceptable, they might be given like a positive sanction, like a smile or a reward, or they might be given criticisms if it was unacceptable. For example, divorce is viewed as unacceptable by the Roman Catholic Church. So again, that kind of links into my sanctions point. An example of expected behavior for Muslims is fasting during Ramadan. So again, what it might like to make a note of again is those kind of positive things. So again, those rewards or praise. Pull all the item apart first. Okay. We're going to start with the 15 marker because I think you should go back to front in the exam. Using material from the item, have to use the item. If you don't use the item, you'll lose 3 marks. And your own knowledge, describe and explain how agents of socialization influence norms and values. So the question for the 15 marker is how agents of socialization influence norms and values. Okay, just so I can keep focusing on the question, how agents of socialization influence norms and values. For a 15 marker for core, they always want you to explain how agents of socialization use processes of social control. So like informal or formal processes. Like praise, criticism, imitation, role models, but how agents of socialization use processes of social control to teach us everything. It's always what that question wants from you. So you should always structure it in the same way, with paragraph 1 saying one agent of socialization that, the question, influences, norms, and values is family. Always do family. Family uses informal processes of social control. This question doesn't want you to tell them what family is. It doesn't want you to say primary agent. It wants you to tell you how you learn norms. And you learn norms from family using informal processes of social control. Family uses informal processes of social control like canalization, verbal appellations, manipulation, and different or domestic activities. Now, you might not have got to these, but these social processes are worth twice as many marks to you. You might not have got that in terms of the content delivery. You give them 3 processes of social control. You could give them praise, criticism, imitation, role models, but these processes are worth more marks. So you should use them wherever possible. Okay, they're our note, please process words. They use canalization, verbal appellation, manipulation, and different or domestic activities to teach norms or the unwritten rules of society and values or beliefs. For example, to teach the unwritten. So for example, if a boy plays with a pink kitchen, so we'll play with a pink kitchen, they will be redirected. Or channeled to play with a car instead. So they will be redirected or channeled to play with another card. So, no, darling, wouldn't you rather play with the car? This teaches the unwritten rules or norms that boys don't play with pink toys. Obviously, as a sociologist, it's pink plastic. Nobody should mind or care. So that's paragraph 1. And then we say a second agent of socialization. That teaches, the question was influences, norms, and values, is education. Education uses more formal processes of social control. Like criticism. Now, I know criticism is actually more informal, so I'm just going to make a note. Direct instructions or exclusion to influence the norms and values of society. So we list 3, explain if they're formal or informal, and then we say, for example, if a student is talking, a teacher will say, please don't talk. And then in brackets, we're just going to put that's the criticism, a little bit more informal. Then if it continues, they're given a direct instruction, don't talk. If they still are not following the social norm, they are asked to leave or are excluded. This teaches the norm of society or unwritten rule that you don't talk whilst others are speaking. And the value is that one should be polite. So we're doing the norm and value there for the education agent of socialization. Now, normally I try to get the item included in one of those first 2 paragraphs, but the item is on religion, which I don't find as easy to kind of discuss. So I need to put the item in this 3rd paragraph or I won't gain 3 marks. So a 3rd agent of socialization that influences norms and values is religion. I find it easiest to use the same agent as in the item. And this uses both formal and informal processes of social control. Like official rules. So like official rules, positive sanctions, exclusion, just do a mixture. For example, in the item, you have to specifically note you're referencing the item. In the item, we can see that it is the expectation for Muslims to fast during Ramadan. If a young person fasts, then they may be given rewards, praised, well done, or given positive sanctions like a smile or hug. This reinforces the norm of fasting. This reinforces the norm of fasting. So the norm of fasting, so the norm is the action, it's the physical thing of not eating for a period of time, or it would be, the norm would be brushing your teeth, because of a belief or value in this case, so a belief or value that you can become closer to Allah or your faith. Okay, so that's the 15 marker. 3 paragraphs, 3 agents, 3 processes per paragraph with a focus on the item. Okay, the 5 marker was on role model. This one's a little bit tough, but the question is role model. Okay, so we always have to offer a definition, 3 clear points, and use of the item. Very similar to the question you get for methods. So first thing, a role model is a person whose behaviour is, so a person whose behaviour or role or part or job, it's like where the person whose behaviour or their job is imitated or copied by others. So role model is a person whose behaviour or job is imitated or copied by others because it has a high status or position. So normally a role model is someone who's the person or the behaviour of that person is copied by others or imitated because it is of a high status or, sorry about the autocorrect, position. Definition. So in the item, we can see that a religious leader, so I'll go back to the item to show you. In the item, we can see that a religious leader, because he can act as a role model, and a religious leader can give guidance. Religious leader can give guidance. This can be with direct instructions. This religious leader can give guidance. This can be with direct instructions or positive sanctions to encourage particular behaviour. So that's use of the item. They've hinted at they can direct behaviour, and we're linking to the processes to show how that's done. Role models can use both formal and informal processes of social control to teach the norms and values of society. They can use both informal and formal processes of social control to teach the norms and values of a society. Agents of socialization use role models and processes to teach younger generations the culture or way of life of a group or society. So, got definition, item, use of formal and informal processes of social control, and the actually agents of socialization. I'm going to develop that. Agents of socialization, both primary and secondary. So both primary, just going to bracket there, family from 0 to 5. And secondary from 5 until I die. And they are education, media, religion, workplace. Both primary and secondary agents use role models and processes to teach younger generation the cultural way of life of a group or society. This ensures society continues to function. Okay, definition, 3 clear points, use of the item. Any questions?